shit. All right, so today we are going to be having the inaugural With That Being Said podcast by the Brothers Blue. That is something that both of us say frequently in our videos. It's like a summative kind of statement, I guess, in a way. And with that being said, I'm Brother Cody, and that's Brother Kyle. And today we're going to talk about, actually, I'll let him introduce it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Today we're going to be talking about the gig economy. We might drift off into some other topics of the conversation,
Right.
Which
right.
is once again why we're calling that this our podcast, rather than all of the other productions that we put out on TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff. With that being said, I will get us into the first topic that I really wanted to kind of dive into related to the gig economy. And this is directly related to my experience within the gig economy and everyone's experience, but really it is the comparison of wage labor versus contract labor. And
Sure.
this is sort of a modern day problem where most of the work I do in the current gig economy that I work in, service industry jobs and whatnot, it is mostly contract labor, technically, which I have a loose grasp on as it is.
Correct.
The majority, when you're working class, you generally know wage labor. You work for a wage, and that's it. And my contract jobs they have a wage attached to it, but it is technically contract labor because I'm not an actual employee at most of the jobs that I'm doing.
Right. And so that's an example of I'm sorry. I know that the one I use is Quick. What's the one that you use?
Quick. I use Upshift.
Oh yeah, shit, my bad. You use Quick, I use Upshift. And so anyways, it's kind of funny that those are the two that we use for our delving into the gig economy. And I do back of house service industry stuff, just so the people know. But Upshift is not contracted, at least the way that you're talking about, because I think the biggest thing that was your I guess, qualm with contract labor is that it's not taxed, and that put you in a weird tax situation when at the end of the year, this, that, and the other. Upshift is taxed. Absolutely. It's taxed like a regular thing. You fill out a W-2 or whatever it is. I don't know. But anyways, it gives you the gross amount that you're going to make, like a job will be estimated at $120 or whatever. And then your paycheck will be $89 because 30 of it went to taxes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, it's just if you have more that you want to say about the contract wage thing, then go ahead. But I honestly, and I've done it before. That was what we were saying is I did contract labor back in my early 20s when I worked in these catering type of jobs in South Florida. So, yeah.
Well, no, that's, you said we're delving into it, and it's I also, because I was thinking literally I was doing party staff, which is exactly the same thing. Basically, I got sent out to gigs, and I was basically a part of the gig economy before the gig economy was a real thing. And, I worked for party staff almost full time, but it was waged and taxed. It was wage labor, and it was definitely taxed. So it does go back once again. It's we've been doing gig labor for a long time.
Sure.
But the gig economy is this new thing that will hopefully drive the rest of the conversation.
I think no, and that actually, and something that I wanted to talk about that I didn't write a note about that I just wanted to talk about organically, and that's kind of related to the show and kind of what you're saying is the micro versus macro understanding of the gig economy. So, like you say, it's like kind of this new thing or whatever, right? That's because Uber and these large companies have interrupted major industries in a way that is taking advantage, in my opinion, of what we're calling the gig economy, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the macro level. Also, I wanted to say that, and it just to be naturally said during this is like that show is a look at it from the macro level. Do you agree?
Okay, so this is why I think you maybe should watch the whole thing because they get
Okay.
they like it's and this is
You said
actually
this right. Yeah.
no, once again, a note that I didn't really make. And yeah, something that I wanted to talk about is the fact that like in one of the features of the new gig economy is the lack of protection for employees. And
Correct.
go really far in that show about how Uber drivers were mistreated,
Sure.
especially in the beginning. Like pretty much
Yep.
everybody who works in the gig economy right now is getting shafted, but they tried really, really hard to make sure that that didn't happen. And so, like, one of the things, this actually leads to the next point where it's like tips versus revenue share. And it's like,
Can we
well,
stop? Hold on. Hold on. I wanted to say something because again, this is a note you have, so we can come back to it. And I want to talk about something that I don't have a note for. So we were saying that or I was saying that that show so far to me seems more like a macro view of it. And what's cool for me is that I have the personal experience that makes me understand it, or like dude, I'm part of it, so like I am the micro level of the gig economy is me and you, like we are the micro level.
yeah,
And so like from the micro level, it's all these different things. Like you said, it's how you get paid. It's like what you have to wear. And not only that, but you have to buy stuff,
worker protections.
clothing,
There's
this,
just
that, and the
like
other.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead. Since you're gonna
there's just like no worker protections, and like that's the thing
Yeah.
is when you try to like write those things off in taxes, it's really
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good luck. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And so and also this is what it's been for me is like, dude, I've been working at the David Lawrence Convention Center, and it's so insane how expensive the parking is in downtown Pittsburgh. So, the least amount I paid for a shift that I had to work there was $6, which like I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm trying to go back to this lot and pay $6 because that's way cheap in comparison to the $13 and the $16 lots that I had to park in previously. Yeah. And so that's a micro level problem for the gig economy person. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And once
And
again,
then
yeah,
this is sorry, let me just finish. One last thing is that I've been working at this place in downtown Pittsburgh, and it's like it reminds me or like enforces the idea that I don't want this to be my full-time job because dealing with the traffic to get to downtown Pittsburgh is absolutely insane almost at any time of day. No, that's not true. When I have these 5 a.m. shifts, it's actually okay. But that's 5 a.m. And then, sorry, the last thing is the difference in what I was saying. Like, it's like, oh, I can leave at 8 a.m. and get there at 9, or I can leave there at 4:45 and get there at 5. Like, it takes me either 15 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that traffic in Phoenix is worse. Like we could just Google it. But
Yeah.
dude. Phoenix has notoriously bad. There are memes about how bad traffic is in Phoenix, and yes, that is something that gig workers have to deal with no protection, or really not just gig workers, but like, well, no, there are really awesome companies that will like consider your commute, or like even offer travel stipends and things like that.
Or
You
parking
get
pay.
that kind of stuff as a gig worker.
Oh yeah, right, exactly, dude. And that's what I'm saying. And that's why I honestly think Uber and DoorDash are like the worst things that you can do, because it's like, oh hey, just put mileage and wear on your car and make like $10 an hour.
Pretty much. Yeah.
They make more than that probably, but at the same time, $20 an hour right now is like barely a livable wage, and I know that because that's what I make right now. But anyways, I actually wanted to talk about this as the last part of the traffic thing, and I hate to come back to this because it's a stupid thing. But anyways, I saw this comedian on TikTok, and his shtick was traffic's bad everywhere. And he was like, oh, I don't care where you live. I've been there, and the traffic's just as bad as it is everywhere else. And I just don't agree with that. While it was funny, I just don't agree with it. And like you said, Phoenix, but like I'm the only thing about Phoenix that makes its traffic so bad is that it's so highly densely populated.
Yeah.
There are areas, so, and this is my opinion. In my opinion, and I've been to Phoenix, I've driven in Phoenix way more than you've driven in Pittsburgh.
I've only driven through residential parts of Pittsburgh. You're right. Have
And
you
I've driven
been
through
on like
Phoenix
the
a fair
freeway?
amount of times.
Okay. Because yeah, our freeway
I've driven.
I-10, and yeah, it's just yeah.
I agree, and not only that, but rush hour is like, it's so funny because like rush hour in Pittsburgh is like, can you call 12 hours rush hour? Like, there's the morning part, and it's like 4 hours, and then there's the afternoon part, and it's like 6 hours or whatever. Yeah. So
This is a weird one. So the HOV lanes here are actually scheduled for rush hour. Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, does Pittsburgh have that? Because yeah, that's
No.
what I'm saying. Is like it's literally on all the signs on all the major or freeways where it says you can use the HOV lane
Oh no.
24 hours a
You,
day, but during
you
these peak hours and these peak hours, it is only for I forgot, but it's reserved.
okay,
Yeah.
whatever. The space is so limited in Pittsburgh that I think there's one HOV lane on all of the major highways that I drive on. Like maybe one. Maybe
Just,
one.
I feel like the grander point you're basically making. I'm sorry to like speed rush it, but the point you're making is that the infrastructure of the East Coast, which we've talked about before, is just yeah.
The only reason I want to put a caveat into that is another city that I have driven around a lot in. Never lived there, but I've driven a shitload in Seattle.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Seattle's traffic, in my opinion, is number 2 with the worst behind Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has the worst traffic in America on my personal experience.
Yeah.
Seattle next, then Phoenix probably, then Vegas, and then Denver. So yeah, that would be my 5 for cities that I've been to and driven a lot in.
I would put Vegas above Denver. I've
Yeah.
driven in Vegas
Oh, I
with
did.
you.
I did put Vegas before Denver. Denver was my 5.
No, that's I meant back. Whatever the opposite of what you're saying. Denver would be my 4. Vegas would be my 5.
Why? You think Denver's built like a grid? That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I had the motorcycle. I had the Ford
Oh
Ranger.
yeah.
Yeah, like so I drove a lot in Denver, and you lived there longer than I do, longer than I did.
I
uh,
lived there for a long time.
yeah, and so maybe that also goes into why I thought it was so bad because I have a more limited perspective.
Yeah.
But also,
So
I would say the same thing. That's maybe probably why I put Vegas because I have way more driving experience in Vegas than you do. Like I've driven in Vegas so many times. Yeah.
that's my thing is I have 2, and I don't
Traffic
think you
wasn't that
realize it. So yeah.
Seattle was bad, Denver was bad, Phoenix is
Yeah.
bad. I can't really get on the Pittsburgh thing because like first of all, I don't have the experience like you do, and second of all, I've looked at these lists and I don't know if Pittsburgh's probably in the top 10 of like
So
bad traffic in America, and I get it. These
I
are holes and statistics.
I do you think that like memes and stuff that you see are geographically biased? Because I do, and I think that's the reason that you talk about having seen or there are memes about Phoenix traffic. Dude, there are memes about a single certain specific bridge in Pittsburgh.
No,
It's
hold
like
on. So that's what that is because I do see memes about the bridges of Pittsburgh. So yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, but like I bet the meme and I guess I just said this one highway because there are memes about the I-10 in Phoenix. The
right.
I-10 in Phoenix is just it's notoriously and infamously bad.
Well, this is my thing actually, and we should get off of traffic after this. Is I-70, and you know how the interstates work. They go up and down and they go left and right.
Yeah.
I-70 is a left and right one that goes through Denver. Most of like everything. Dude, I-70 is like the one that goes across America.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, so does
and there
I-10.
are memes about it. Dude, sorry, just let me finish. I-70 is bad everywhere. It's the out of the 3 interstates in Denver, there are 3: I-225, I-25, and I-70. I-70 is a piece of shit highway from Denver to Ohio.
I've driven on the I-70 in Denver a lot. It is the northern part. And that's what's funny. Is like
Yep.
not only it's through the middle of the country, but in Denver, it's through the northern part of Denver.
Correct.
The I-10 goes smack dab right through the middle of Phoenix. The I-10 is also one of those, it's like the I-70. It goes to, I'm pretty sure, maybe all the way to Florida, but probably like to Louisiana, maybe Mississippi or Alabama.
So 10, that means
10
it's
goes all the way, dude.
if it's the I-10, that means it's horizontal, right?
Yeah, and it's across the southern part of the country. The I-70 goes through the middle of the country.
Yeah, and so I-25.
Did you see that?
I-25 is the one that's in Denver that goes directly through Denver. So that's the north-south one that goes through Denver. And yeah, technically you're right about I-70 going through the north side of Denver, but it's for like most of it. And then like Denver has this weird skewed shape as a city because it kind of goes upwards. Like dude, I-70 goes right by Coors Field. Like Coors Field is downtown. So
yeah, word, but it kind of curves in. Yeah. In order Denver is once again, I think like a nightmare for traffic. but that's just me. And also like the fact that like I saw so much stadium traffic there. That is really probably what has skewed my perspective on the traffic in Denver. The fact that just like the places, the spots I lived, like it was particularly bad.
Yeah, and not only that, I think the seasons really you Denver is a four season place, and I don't think you like living in a four seasons place. So
No, I mean I kind of like it's insanely hot right now. It's like, dude, how long is it gonna be like this? But yes, I like being in nice hot weather all the time. Yeah.
right. All right. So to transition us away from talking about traffic, you should talk about your next note. And I also wanted to segue one of our portions with the fact that I bought whiskey because I have to make a whiskey peppercorn sauce, which I'm going to talk to you about later as well. And that's part of the gig economy, or not the gig economy conversation. But, anyways, I bought whiskey because I knew you would have whiskey. And I was like, it's our first podcast. I have to have whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks for buying whiskey.
Yeah,
Um
dude.
uh and lending me money the other day so I could buy whiskey. Uh but anyways, I actually really think we should probably do a part two. But with that being said, I did have one more point that I wanted to talk about before we moved into uh the next note that I had, which was like about revenue share versus tips and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
the last point I wanted to make also, just like I didn't make a note, and I think you'll probably have something to say on this because it goes into the macro versus micro thing that you were talking about, especially with like that Uber show and him and like the Calumet guy have a like similar sort of like prophetic like grand vision of what they see for their company. So Amazon, as we all know, started as a book delivery service. Now they just deliver everything, and they have offer one of the best streaming services on the planet. It's like, dude, all right, you books. You started with books, and that was the
Books.
thing also about Uber. Uber tried to take over the taxi system. That's it. They just wanted to
I
take
like.
the taxi system. But that guy was like, I want to deliver everything. And then he was like, I want to get rid of the drivers. And it's like, dude, this is some serious macro versus micro thinking. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't seen that part of the show, which sucks.
Sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, and that's the thing. Oh, also, I was gonna say, because of the recording situation for me, I do not have a timer.
Yeah, we'll do a
Where?
part two. We should do a part two.
No, tell me where we're at.
5 minutes.
All right, yeah, let's take a break and we'll do part two.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
We should probably still end it with our closing line, right?
Yeah, but I think we need to think of a better one for our podcast.
Well, we can't right now, so maybe.
Right, so we'll brainstorm it.
Well, no, and what's really like, because we have a few minutes left, and we're just podcasting. Our last video about the tattoos thing, and I talked about, or we had this literal same conversation about like having a different closing line. Yeah, and I brought up the whole "art is dead" thing by Bo Burnham, and
Yeah.
like I was like, I don't know if I want to include a Bo Burnham quote, but then I was just like, fuck that. Like that would have been a perfect ending. Yeah.
So I will say something that I just thought of is it should include the title and the beginning. So it should be, with that being said, and then something else.
So the thing that I say all the time is once again, but that's not a good
With that being said, once again, yeah, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they pretty much are. All right. So close this out with our normal closing line.
All right, fine. Knowledge is power.